Om. Ya kundendu tushara dhavala ya shubhravastranvita ya veena varadandamandita ya shveta padmasana या ब्रह्माच्युत शंकर प्रभृतिभिर् देवैः सदा पूजिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा। Om Shri Sharadai Namaha. Friends, we have a simple but very important topic for this webinar 237 on this January 29, a Sunday, year 2023. The topic, as all of you are aware, is the miracle of gratitude. Many of us are very qualified. We have traveled around the world. We have many accomplishments to our credit, and so on and so forth. Yet, the bitter truth of life is many of us are not truly happy deep inside in the depth of our heart. And this webinar's topic can give a very good clue, a very good hint, a very good tip towards how we may truly move towards happiness, blessedness, a state of mind where there is no regret, no anxiety. On the contrary, a certain sense of celebration can fill our bosom. All this doesn't have to be taken as exaggeration. Please do not think the speaker is indulging in some oratorical excellence or is showing off some vocabulary that he has. This is the truth that many great people as well as commoners have discovered and shared with others. Philosophers and saints have also declared this, and common women and men also have testified to the truth of this statement that gratitude can make wonders, can do wonders, can bring about miracles. Therefore, we have to take a break and rather than simply pursuing the goals that our intellect sets before us, do this, do that, get this, etc., we have to take a break from the goading that the intellect does to us and go for this voice coming from our heart. Gratitude is a feeling. Thought may do a little groundwork, but when gratitude attains a certain maturity, it's a great feeling that will bring tears in our eyes. Whether young or old, we must be grateful to many people. Some of them may have gone away. Some of them may not be on the earth, at least. We are not able to see them. And some of them might be around us. Some might be so younger or junior to us here in this matter. Junior or senior, older or younger, women or men, nothing matters. The fact that we have received something, big or small, from these people or even these creatures, birds or animals, has to be recognized. So, friends, this is not a high Vedanta topic, but in its ability to bless our life, This topic is no less than one of those high Vedanta topics. Let me at this point try to share with you a bunch of little slides. Where is that now? Ah, here it is. So we have this webinar 237. I hope it is visible. If it's not visible, one of you may turn your mic on and say, I am not able to see the slides.
It is visible, Swamiji.
It is visible. Thank you. I'm grateful to you for pointing out that we can get going. We can actually be grateful to so many people on so many occasions. But what is important is to be grateful from the heart, not say thank you mechanically. The miracle of gratitude is webinar 237 under the banner of FOWAI Forum somewhere in 2015 in a house in New Jersey, in the house of the daughter of Dr. Sid Gautam. With his encouragement, Vibha Chaitanya and myself sat with the family members over there and started these webinars. And we have come a long way, and definitely no exaggeration. We have reason to be grateful to so many who have supported, shown interest in, and encouraged us to get going with these webinars. So, our webinars reaching the milestone of 237 is also an occasion for us to be grateful to whatever or whoever made it possible. The second line of this title of the webinar goes, Thank all and the universe will bless you. This is a bit of a mystical language. You thank some colleague, you thank some boss, you thank your spouse, you thank a few people, and then the claim is, the promise made is, the universe will bless you. So it is mystical, it has a great spiritual touch to it, but we have reason to believe that the universe is never far from us. The stars are not really as far as we imagine. The planets are not really as far as we think. They have a close and intimate relation with us. Poets have sung and mystics have talked about the interconnectedness of everything in the universe. So every day, and that means every today, I am grateful for something, for somebody, for some situation, and so on. Was it not just the other day that many of us received a little video clip over WhatsApp? This WhatsApp has both bad and good, let's admit. But this video clip was very interesting. It came actually two or three times to me over a period of few months. But when I got it recently, maybe for the third time, I watched it because I knew this would be something heartening. A very old lady on a wheelchair and some holding one walking stick also. Probably she would go some distance in the wheelchair and then then maybe walk a little. That was her plan. So on one hand she is on a wheelchair, on the other she is also holding a walking stick in her hand and she moves a little on the pavement of a residential block and by mistake, by a slip, the walking stick in her hand falls. It not only falls, it goes some 10 feet away. It rolls, it moves, it goes 10 feet away from her. She is here on the wheelchair, this very old lady for whom even to get up is a challenge. She's on this wheelchair, and then there is a boy standing 10 feet away, and the walking stick more or less falls right at his feet. So this lady says to that young fellow, 20-year-old boy, eating a cone ice cream, enjoying the ice cream. The old lady says to him, Beta, that word is in Hindi, oh my son, will you please pick up that walking stick of mine and give to me? The boy looks at her and says, Sure, auntie, sure. At that point, when we watch the video, we think, okay, the problem is solved. But this boy is in his own world. Though he says, surely, auntie, he actually doesn't pick up the walking stick at all. She looks at him. He said so loudly, surely, auntie, I'll pick up this. He meant that. But he is just enjoying the ice cream. After waiting for some time, pulling a long face, showing or expressing more tiredness than ever before, taking a deep breath, the old lady moves her wheelchair. There's a way to move forward. She takes the wheelchair towards the walking stick, thinking in her mind, "Ah, these youngsters these days, ice cream or their mobile or something, they are engaged with that. It is very disappointing, but I'm not going to blame him. Let me help myself." So she moves towards the walking stick wherever it had fallen, which means about 10 feet away. And her intention is to bend and pick up that walking stick. Then comes the last part of the video. As she has moved away some 10 feet to pick up that walking stick, there was a big sound, dab, dab, behind her. She looks back, and to her horror, somebody from the fourth or fifth or higher floor of that residential multi-story building most irresponsibly, most carelessly has pushed actually a kind of center table with a lot of things upon it. Somebody in a fit of rage, maybe two members of a family were having a quarrel and they were fighting, they were scolding each other, and an expression of that anger, maybe the younger of the two fighting, lifted a center table with a lot of books and some flower vase and something else, etc., and threw it out of the open window. And it came down by some 50 or 70 feet. It came down making a big sound. And you know where it fell? Are you able to hear me?
Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
guess it's okay now.
Yeah.
So it fell exactly where her wheelchair was. Imagine if the young boy had taken the walking stick and run to the old lady and given to her, saying, Here it is, auntie, or something. That center table of the house on the fifth floor would have fallen straight on the head of that old lady. So she had to be grateful to that young boy for not being so obedient or, respectful to elderly people. She had to be grateful to that young boy for being so indifferent, so insensitive. She was saved from a major accident. So you never know how things happen. Let's proceed with some thoughts on this matter of gratitude. The life of every one of us, no exception. Swamiji is also not an exception. Everyone's life is a half filled glass. And if that is the case, what is the message? This is a very well known illustration. Life is a half-filled glass. Shall we fret and fume on the empty half above, the upper part of the glass? I don't have this, I don't have that, or I am okay, but my son has no job, my daughter hasn't got a husband yet, something or the other. What we don't have is implied by the upper half. If we are brooding on what we don't have, what we didn't get, etc., it could be a very sad life. But as the second bullet shows here, can we be happy about the filled half below? The lower half is filled. So this message is as simple as this. There are many things in our life. There are so many blessings we can count. In one of his short talks, the witty and smart Jaggi Vasudev, whom they call Sadguru, begins his talk saying, isn't it a miracle that so many of us are alive? He says, the fact that we are alive and are entering one more day in our life. Let's say somebody among us is 54. So many less old than 54 have died, are dying, will die. Death doesn't seem to care for the age of people. People 26-year-old, 33-year-old, 6 months old, 47-year-old, men, women, poor, rich. Oh. Many years ago, an Indian Airlines flight took off, I think, from Bangalore to Mumbai. And among the passengers, there was none less than Ashok Birla. I guess he was a cousin of Kumar Mangalam Birla. Kumar Mangalam Birla, today, to my knowledge, is the topmost person in the Birla family, one of the very rich families of India. Ashok Birla was cousin or something, but the plane crashed. Death took probably some 300 people together to next life. So, celebrities, very eminent people. Perhaps I should have given you the example before Ashok Birla. That was a long backstory. Recently, perhaps not even 1 year is over. Cyrus Mistry. Cyrus Mistry was the head of the entire Tata empire in our country. Though he was later removed by the governing board, but for 3 years or so, Cyrus Mistry was the chairman of the Tata Group, Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Tata Power, and many Tata. Tata is a hallowed name in Indian business. But in an accident, while they were traveling from Gujarat back to Mumbai, Cyrus Mistri's life was taken. And you and I, attending this webinar 237, are up and alive, up and kicking. We must be grateful to the powers that be for keeping us alive. A wonderful life itself is such a privilege. Therefore, why not make a list of events and things and people whom we need to thank? Like that old lady had to eventually thank that boy. You didn't lift the walking stick, and though disappointed, I somehow pulled my wheelchair a few feet away to pick up the walking stick, not realizing that if I had stayed where I was, that heavy center table and other things would have fallen on my head. Many times when you and I look back, there were occasions where we narrowly escaped death or some other terrible danger, terrible mishap, etc. We could have gone down, we could have suffered terribly. So count your blessings. See the lower. Being grateful is talked about. I did not do enough research to pick up. I'm sure there are many places in Ramayana, in Mahabharata, in Viduraditi, in Chanakyaniti, in Bhagavatam, and in various scriptures in other languages of India, Oriya and Bengali, Tamil or Gujarati.
Yes.
I'm sure there are portions, but representatively, I'm sharing with you the Valmiki Ramayana having 24,000 shlokas, 24,000 shlokas, begins with a certain shloka, Tapaswadhyaya niratam tapasvi vagvidam varam Naradam paripapracha Valmikir munipungavaha. That's the first shloka. Valmiki asks Narada certain questions. The second shloka is what is shown here. Valmiki asks Narada, Onvasmin sampratam loke gunavan kascha viryavan dharmajnascha kritajnascha satyavakyo dridavratah. In two or three verses, Valmiki asks Narada, is there on this earth at this time? Sampratam means at this time. Don't talk about somebody who lived 100 years, 200 years ago. Right now, on this earth, he is somebody with all virtues, with all strength, not just physical strength, moral strength, all kinds of strength, emotional strength, who knows this very subtle matter of right and wrong. And what we have put in bold letters is Kritajnaha, who is full of gratitude to people who might have helped him, who might have been of service to him on occasions. Maybe a boatman who took Rama across the Ganga. Maybe a charioteer who drove the chariot at odd times also to places where Sri Rama had to go. And of course, to begin with Mother Kausalya, Father Dasharatha, a number of people in the palace, outside the palace, in the villages, in the city, on various occasions, sometimes right in front of his eyes. Sometimes he knows that somebody who is not in front of his eyes but has done something, and I am enjoying it. Sometimes you go and stay at some guest house, and one or two people who are running around giving you your meals, maybe starting with morning tea, and they are visible. But then you want to give them some tips if it is allowed. But then you make some inquiries. This is a beautiful guest house, beautiful gardens, well maintained. And these two fellows have been serving me. Then the manager says, thank you, thank you. You want to give them some tips through the office or directly. But those two are not the only ones. This guest house with its garden and so on is kept beautiful by a team of 11 people. There is the gardener, there is this security guard, there is somebody who cleans and changes the linens in the guest rooms. There is somebody who collects your clothes, next day returns washed and ironed and so on. Some of them you don't meet at all. You meet only two or three people. Therefore, the manager of the guest house says to you, Madam, if you really want to make some contribution, please give it here, we will distribute to all of them. And you say, we only saw those who were bringing coffee to us, serving the meal on the dining table at the dining hall, and so on. Sri Rama, all through Valmiki Ramayana, has been praised in line with this word. Kritajnaha. He is full of gratitude. Satyavakyaha. Dridhavrataha. And so on. The very first sarga of the first Kanda, Balakanda of Valmiki Ramayana gives pretty much the whole Ramayana in a summary fashion. And Narada describes Rama. So gratitude has been a virtue represented by none less than Maryada Purushottama, Sri Ramachandra. We had two webinar sessions on Sri Kumar Rao's book Modern Wisdom, Ancient Roots. And this slide I am actually repeating from one of those webinars where at a certain place, Dr. Rao, a CEO coach and a friend, philosopher, guide to many people on the earth, in this world, so to say, said at certain place, it's impossible to be both grateful and angry at the same time. Moment you are grateful, a certain positive emotion fills your heart. Anger, which is a negative emotion, cannot remain there. Dr. Rao wittily says, try it, try to be grateful also and angry also. Try it, it does not work. And one whole chapter he devotes to the importance of gratitude, being grateful. And in that chapter, he talks about a certain person called John Kralik. John Kralik, who eventually wrote a book, it seems. But before he wrote his book, he actually went through terrible times. He suffered from financial difficulties. His wife left him and went away. His children were not respecting him. He was a lawyer, an attorney, and his profession or his practice of law went from bad to worse. Many people for whom he argued their case in the court did not pay him what was due to him, and he was not getting new cases, etc. John Kralik was on the verge of committing suicide. And that is when, from somewhere, somehow, he got an insight. Hey, enough of crying, enough of lamenting, enough of going more and more depressed. Let me just try to look at everything as though everything is good for me. In Eastern wisdom, we have always had a belief which unfortunately might have been misused by many. But the belief I am referring to is a certain belief that God knows what is happening. Whatever has happened in my life is good for me. What is happening now is good. What will happen also is good. God has His own plan. God makes me suffer when He thinks that is what I need. God makes me dance in joy when He thinks that is the right thing at that time. Like a doctor who gives sometimes sweet medicine, some nice tonic which is so good, the tongue likes it. And some other times a doctor gives bitter medicine, the tablets or the liquid that we have to consume is so bitter, but we trust the doctor. Like that, John Kralik, somewhere he got that input and he said, I don't care, no matter what. Every day I will write one letter. He wrote actually one letter every day. For 365 days he did it. Therefore, the title of this slide goes 365 Thank Yous. That's the title of his book also. And the second line of that title goes, The year a simple act of daily gratitude changed my life. He just wrote a letter, and all he did was, while writing that letter, which might have taken 10 or 15 minutes for him, he did it with feeling, with his heart. And the miracle began. Miracle began. On one hand, he was feeling positive, upbeat, smiling. And that had effect on people whom he met. They were surprised. First, they just brushed it aside. Some thought he might have gone mad, looking at all the financial crisis he is going through, and still he is laughing. Mad people are like that. They laugh when they should actually cry. Like that, some people thought of him as mad. But John Kralik, the author of 365 Thank Yous, the year a simple act of daily gratitude changed my life, went on and on. And somehow, slowly, his sons started appreciating their father. They came, they visited him, and they said, Dad, you look so good. You seem to be not worried at all. And though we have all left, we have kept a distance from you. And John Kralik must have replied to them, I too don't know why I'm happy, but I'm just happy. Yeah. In higher philosophy, that's what they say. When you are happy without reason, you are on a higher spiritual level. We have a friend in Krishnamurti Foundation from England, Derek Hook. Derek Hook is a very humorous person. Last time I met him in Chennai, I just said to him, Hi, Derek, how are you? He looked at me. Say again. I said, How are you? How am I? That's what I am also trying to find out. How am I? He said. So he had his own, you know, his own sense of humor. He's known for actually being very humorous, and he makes children laugh. Every time he comes, the Krishnamurti schools in Chennai, the one in the city and the one in the inland of Tamil Nadu, both the schools invite him. And he sits with the high school boys, tells them stories, some jokes, makes them laugh. He sings and so on. So we wonder why he is happy. You know. And if you ask him, Derek, why are you happy? He would typically answer, I do not know. I'm also trying to find out for a long time why I'm happy. I don't know. He makes some kind of funny face also. So John Kralik's life changed and the universe apparently did a miracle. Even tenants, not tenants, what do you call them, clients. His clients who had walked away started coming back. His wife also came back. His business started prospering. And he then wrote this book. All this is a miracle. I don't know how it happened, but one thing I can say is every day I wrote a thank you note to somebody whom I remember. That is how we titled this webinar also, The Miracle of Gratitude. So after Valmiki Ramayana, if we take a look at Bhagavad Gita, the word Kritajnata perhaps is not seen there, but indirectly, Dhruti, Mukta Sangaha, Anahamvadi, Dhruti Utsaha Samanvitaha, Siddhya Siddhyo, Nirvikaraha, Karta Satvika Uchyate is a shloka. There are many other places also where Dhruti comes. In fact, in the 18th chapter, there is more light on Dhruti. Satviki Dhruti, Rajasi Dhruti, Tamasi Dhruti. Dhruti means fortitude. Dhruti means holding on. Dhruti means once we are convinced in our heart that the work we are doing is good, whether the society appreciates or not, whether we get criticism or praise, we just go on and we remain firm in the good work that we are convinced of. We are not here begging for anybody's praise. We have done introspection. We have examined ourselves. And we are very clear that what we are doing is something good. Then you stay put, dhriti. And in the exercise of gratitude, that is what we get. As we become more and more grateful, we find the virtue or the quality of remaining firm increases. Otherwise, we tend to give up or give in. We tend to collapse. Quoting Dr. Rao once more, he writes in his book, the universe responds automatically and quickly to accommodate the new person you are becoming. Till yesterday, I was crying, I was blaming people, I was blaming the stars, I was blaming all those, you know, factors not known and so on. But I began to thank. Every day I want to thank people. Then I'm a new person. A person who blames and cries and laments and sinks in despair is one person. A person who says, thank you, I'm grateful for whatever has happened, etc., is a different person. And Dr. Rao says, puts it so nicely. The universe responds automatically and quickly to accommodate the new person you are becoming. Things around you change. You cannot be depressed when you are being appreciated. Let's say one of us was trying to get a prize. We tried hard, we worked hard, but we didn't get the prize. And our competitor got the prize. And it hurts, but then somehow, if we gather certain spiritual energy and say, well, I don't want to be depressed. Here is my competitor, his contribution, his product, or something he did has got the prize, he has done. And I'm pausing because here it shows connecting to cloud server. Maybe it is down now. Yeah, now I think it is back. Or maybe it was not down at all. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So, suppose we appreciate his work rather than comparing with how our work was better. His work was not so good, but prize has gone to him. My bad luck and all these things. So, forget it. Just appreciate his work. Certainly, it has got the prize because of some merit. Appreciate that merit in his work or that company's work. Dr. Rao says, once you are appreciative, more and more appreciative, and you know, thereby you are not thinking about how you didn't get the prize, then depression goes away. Depression will be the matter, will be the case when thoughts revolve at high speed around you are not getting the prize. If the thoughts revolve at high speed around the merit of somebody else's work, you will be actually not depressed, you will be so happy. In other words, as Vedanta would always say, connecting to cloud server. Ah. Our joy and sorrow are not because of this or that situation. Our joy and sorrow are because of what thoughts we have. So if you have more thoughts and feelings of appreciation, you will not be in sorrow, you will be in joy. Therefore, in one of the previous webinars, if I remember right, it was the 200th webinar or 201st webinar that we requested Srimati Ranjini Manian of Chennai to speak on some topic. Among the gems of thought that she shared with us, she said, begin the day with meditation, end the day with gratitude. Among the many things she said, I was myself struck with this saying. She is a very devout follower of Swami Chinmayananda, whom she and her family knew from her childhood. When she was a high school girl, Swamiji had gone to their house in Matunga, Mumbai, and later on also on 100 occasions with her father, with her mother, with her younger sister. She had met Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji, and later years She became an ardent admirer of Eknath Ishwaran. In Chennai, even today on Saturday afternoon, she conducts an Ishwaran satsang. Some of you, like Subramanyam Boya Reddy, have attended that Ishwaran satsang once during a visit to Chennai. So she is inspired by the teachings of Swami Chinmayananda, Eknath Ishwaran, and so on. This evening, I am actually doing this webinar at a little place where she has hosted me. I'm speaking from Chennai. A grahastha, she is a grandmother, she has many responsibilities, but you must see her, how she carries on with lots of responsibilities with so much grace. Tomorrow she is flying to Mumbai to give a motivational lecture at the well-known NMIMS, Narsi Monji Institute of Management Sciences. By evening, she will fly back to Chennai. So, this very resourceful lady, who is a good example for values lived in life, said this: begin your day with meditation, end your day with gratitude. Maybe she borrowed it from Ishwaran or somebody, that doesn't matter. But she shared that piece of wisdom with us as though it came from her own heart. So before we go to bed, let us consciously feel grateful. Feel. Feel grateful for the many good things in our life. Let it not be an intellectual affair. Should not be an intellectual exercise. I want to be grateful to the world because logically, and then your mind says, what logic? The world has let you down. Everybody has let you down. No, no. From your cerebral domain, if you wish to be grateful, it would neither work nor it would not give the desired outcome. From your heart, give a break to your intellect. Send your brain on a holiday. From your heart, just say, no matter what, I am grateful to everybody. Even those who have insulted me, those who found fault with me, those who actually neglected me, ignored me, those who spoke ill of me, so on. To them also I am grateful. Like that old lady had to be grateful to the young man who did not actually pick up the walking stick for her. The old lady was saved from a big disaster. We must feel it. Lamentation is inversely proportional to appreciating. More you appreciate, less you will lament. More you lament, less you will appreciate. Therefore, you and I have to decide, do we want to go through life lamenting, crying? By the way, sometimes, in spirituality, some of us cry not because of material losses, not even because we are not famous or popular or well placed, etc. But we become too judgmental about ourselves. I have not been able to get up early. I have not overcome anger. I am still a victim of lust. I am still suffering from jealousy at times. My japa is not going on well. My meditation is not going well. My mind wanders too much. I am not fit for Vedanta. All kinds of self judgment. You know what? The present teachings apply in that context also. Suppose one day you wanted to get up at 4:30, but 7:30 you got up with great difficulty. In the light of what we are discussing in this webinar, dear friends, you must shrug out of any negative thought and say, I have got up at 7:30 while my plan was 4:30. God, I am grateful to you for giving me this kind of funny personality. Sets the alarm for 4:30 a.m. and gets up finally at 7:30 a.m. I'm very funny. And thank you, God, you made me a very funny person. Next time you have lust or greed, jealousy, etc., do one thing at least. Don't blame yourself. Say that while my effort is to be free of these negatives, negative emotions, I, irrespective of anything, I am grateful to God for making me whatever I am. Whatever I am with the so-called negativities, whatever I am, perhaps is an instrument in God's plan. Yeah, I'll give you a simple example. You have had a heavy breakfast and you are driving to work. On the way, your eyes fall upon a nice new restaurant, which is open at 8 a.m. itself. You stop the car, go in the restaurant, again eat something. Then you start feeling guilty. Such a good breakfast I had at home. On the way also I ate. What a glutton I am. Ooh, you start judging yourself. Hold on. I'm not saying do it every day. That's not the point. But as you walk back to the car and proceed to work, while on one hand a guilty feeling is coming that I overate, I didn't have to go to restaurant now. If I really like this restaurant in the afternoon, evening on the way back, I could have gone, etc. Your mind may say, don't blame yourself. Say, God, by making me the kind of a glutton, your plan must be, maybe that restaurant was not having enough business. You are making people like me who had breakfast at home enter the restaurant and eat once more. So if I am an instrument, you are using me for some plan of yours, I am blessed. I have been of help to you in your plan. What a great blessing it is. God, if necessary, keep me lusty, keep me greedy, keep me a glutton, keep me this, that for another 10 years. Thank you. Thank you for keeping me in your team. Like an actor who gets to act as a villain in a play. He goes and tells the producer and director, thank you for giving me a role. Thank you for giving me a role. But it's a villain's role you have given. No, 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 but the audience is appreciating the villain more than the hero in this play. And I am now getting invited by other people. So to act as a villain also has its own brighter side. Think about it. Thoughts are to be questioned. If you know the art of being grateful in the so called worst moments of your life, you will know a way of expressing gratitude. Perhaps the last slide, and the time also is up. Practicing gratitude mindfully. Remind yourself to be gratitude. How do we do that? If necessary, put a clock which every 2 hours rings. Every 2 hours the alarm goes. For what? For some pranayama? For some brief, for what you call prayer? No, 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 no. In the present context, every time, once in 2 hours, the alarm goes, you say, oh, I'm going to take a 2 minute break and consciously, with my heart, offer gratitude to somebody. So, 6 times a day, 8 times a day, I take 2 minutes off and be grateful, starting with your parents, your siblings, your school teachers, there's a long list. Repeat if you like. Can we do this mindfully? That means fully being involved. Can we set alarms and reminders for ourselves? One day, if we do this, one day we will discover that inner glow. There is a glow inside, there's a light inside, which has to come on the face too. One day, suddenly, we say, hey, nowadays I'm cheerful, I'm happier. Nowadays, I don't worry so much, I don't lament as much. Then, as Dr. Rao again says, a thought has become a felt experience. A thought has become a felt experience. Initially, it was a thought, but you went about invoking that thought mindfully, heartfully, then that thought becomes a felt experience. Lastly, none of us knows how many years are left in our life. We may be in our 50s or 60s, 70s or 80s, irrespective of our age. How many years, how many months, how many weeks are left in life of any of us, we do not know. In the light of it, let's not delay this exercise of gratitude. From this day itself, let us spend a little time every day, maybe the night before going to bed, or as this slide says, a few times keeping an alarm up for it and so on. Let us just be thankful to all people. If our spouse has been not so kind or understanding, be thankful to him for whatever he has been. If our spouse has been very caring, very be grateful to him or her for that matter. Be grateful to everybody for whatever they are. You are not going to do a favor to them by that. By doing so, you are doing a great favor to yourself. Your heart will feel lighter and lighter. And mind you, or let me assure you, you won't become insane or you won't become impractical. You won't become, some kind of crazy person. No. On the contrary, as your heart becomes lighter and lighter, you will be able to smile and do your duties better than ever before. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, over to all of you to make a comment, ask a question, express your
Harivam Swamiji.
gratitude, or say this
Harivam
was the
Swamiji,
most
Subramanian.
boring webinar ever. Feel free to say. Yes, I think Subramaniam was saying something.
Yeah. I have a three-part question, Swamiji. One, gratitude versus indebtedness. The feelings are
Indebtedness,
both
yeah.
positive or, one is positive, one is negative, one question. And you said the gratitude and anger cannot coexist.
Yeah.
I just give an example. If you have a close relative, you have a lot of gratitude, you help financially, substantially,
Yeah.
but it is not spent in the way you expected.
Right.
In that situation, can anger and gratitude coexist? And thirdly, third part is when you're thinking constantly in gratitude about the people in the past,
Yeah.
they may not no longer be on the planet, but will that lead to living in the past?
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's take the first question. Gratitude and indebtedness.
Right.
You said indebtedness is a bit negative. Did you? Because we feel,
Is it negative? That's why I'm not sure. That's why.
oh, it can be both. When we feel indebted, it can be positive also, in which case it is nothing but gratitude only. And I do see your point. Sometimes when we feel indebted to somebody, then we feel our abhiman, our pride is a little hurt. That every time I had to take help from him, every time I had to receive assistance from her, why is it that only I have to receive and never I am at the giving end? So we feel a bit small in the some kind of indebtedness. And that, really speaking, is because of our pride, certain egoism. As we spiritually grow, we do not suffer from that negative feeling. Then the indebtedness becomes cleansed of that negative side. So therefore, suppose a sadhu is receiving bhiksha, a sadhu is taking even financial support for building some ashram or temple, etc. If that sadhu is really devoted to the cause and not at all doing it as a show of how successful he is and so on, then that indebtedness will be a pure sentiment. But if the sadhu is making, even collecting funds for a noble cause, a statement of how efficient or successful he is in comparison with some other sadhu and so on, right away that ahankara came into the picture. Then it becomes a negative feeling. Therefore, the first question is answered saying both gratitude and indebtedness are one and the same when the indebtedness is of a pure nature. If the indebtedness is, sometimes you use the word obligation. Earlier I was so free. Now I'm obliged to all these people. I somehow have to clear my debt to them. That is a typical behavior of someone who has some ego left. When some ego is not left, one doesn't become shameless. One becomes so free of that uh, that self-image. So one has to carefully examine: am I shameless in taking some help from somebody, or am I proud? Am I, what kind of emotion is rising in me? So one has to examine it. So there could be, to end the answer, there could be two cases where somebody receives help from another person, feels indebted, but feels bad about it. Oh, I should have been the person to give him, not him giving me. Then that is very common, it's very widespread, but still on a spiritual scale, one has to clear it. Did I take it for any selfish goal? Did I take it for just expanding my house? Or did I take it for helping somebody else? You know, suppose you are trying to help a patient, cancer patient, who needs some money for his operation. You put some, and you also ask some friends to put some, purely for helping that patient, right? Then you think, and you become free of any negativity. I'm doing this purely for a noble cause. So second one, can you just repeat the second
Yeah,
question?
the
Correct.
coexistence of
Yeah, anger
gratitude
and
and
greed.
anger. You in with gratitude, you help
Correct.
somebody
You said somebody
substantially
used,
close.
and that person did not use it for, let us say,
Use
purpose
it
for which.
the way you expect him to her use it.
Correct, correct.
And can anger and gratitude exist at the same time?
To that person, towards that person, if you feel angry, then you cannot be grateful to that person. You may be grateful to somebody else who actually made it possible for you to help this guy. So you are grateful to someone who also pitched in and you helped this guy, but this guy did not use the funds for the purpose for which you gave. So you will have some anger. But the interesting point is you can convert that anger towards this guy also into sympathy and compassion first in a healthy way, not whitewashing on the surface, by deeply understanding how sometimes even very educated people, people who look very smart, also don't keep their word. You gave him the funds, let us say, looking at he's very competent and he has all the qualification and he's very smart. He gave a nice welcome speech in some function. You saw certain aspects and trusted him. But finally, in the implementation, that fellow proved to be not only inefficient but corrupt also. Sometimes they do that. Let's say somebody takes 10 lakhs from you, and 3 lakhs he gives to somebody, some relative, for some thing. That is corruption or inefficiency. So you convert your anger into sympathy. You may stop helping him, but you see how the human being is caught in spite of so much of talents in some vices. Just like somebody is a genius but gets into drinking, smoking, drugs. One hand you get very angry. He has got a degree from Harvard and all this one, and but he's into drugs. This is one, we get angry. Then you see from another angle of view, oh my God, even a degree from Harvard and all the books he has written haven't helped him actually become a really good person. That means to be a good person is a mighty challenge in human life. So you look at the larger picture, you feel sympathy for him. That doesn't mean you go on supporting him. You take practically, you take some gestures, but in your heart, there is nothing against him. Last part was you had a last.
Like constantly thinking about people in your life,
no,
with
it doesn't make
emotional.
us live in the past.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So nobody is saying constantly think about those who helped you in the last 50 years, 70 years, etc. Constantly doesn't mean putting all your work behind. It is during your moments of leisure. Constantly means every now and then. Constantly means whenever you have some time, rather than picking up the newspaper and or turning the news channel on, spend 2 minutes in thinking of them. So it won't make you live in the past. On the contrary, the perfume of gratitude that enters your personality will enable you to live in the present more. Because in the absence of gratitude, a certain negative energy rises in us. Gratitude is a cleansing agent. When we are grateful, in 1 minute here and 1 minute there, you know, put it in contrast with some useless indulgence. I get 2 minutes free. Suppose I rush to the kitchen and get something to some murukku, some chakuli. Instead of that, I'm not hungry, I'm not thirsty. I got 1 minute free. I just think of somebody to whom I should be grateful. It cleanses my bosom. So it doesn't nail me down to the past. On the contrary, it releases me from the grip of certain negative energies. It's just like, let me conclude the answer this way. If you have 5 minutes free, once more, my favorite example is go to kitchen and eat something, some samosa is there, and make some coffee for the seventh time in the day and drink. That's a useless indulgence. It spoils your physical health, mental health, emotional health, everything. You have 5 minutes free. Recently, you have learned Anuloma Viloma Pranayama. Let us. You just let me use the Anuloma Viloma Pranayama. Breathe in through right nostril, breathe out through the left. They call it Anuloma Viloma, or there is Anapan, they call it. There are a couple of names. Just 5 minutes, you do one of the simple pranayams. Does it not generate some new energy, fresh energy? So this gratitude is like that 5 minute pranayama. Though you may be remembering somebody who helped you when you were a primary school boy, it doesn't tie you down to the past. Actually, the effect of that would be a certain sense of how blessed I am, and it gives you new energy to work. Beautiful questions, Subramaniam.
Oh, very good answers, Swamiji. I'm really thankful for you.
Let us be grateful to each other. I'm grateful to you. You be grateful to me. Both of us will rise on the scale of spiritual consciousness.
Thank you, Swamiji. Hari Om.
Second person to ask a question or make a comment, which is also welcome.
Swamiji, today webinar is very, very beautiful and very useful for us. I am very grateful to you for the knowledge you have given me. Every day we are grateful to some people every minute. That is true.
One tip to you, you are not facing the camera, I think. Where is the camera of you? Announce, we are able to see you fully.
I don't know. It was coming before, now it is not coming.
So you ask your son, where is the eye of the camera? Kann. Camera.
Because is there. They have
and
gone for
if you are
college.
if you are facing the eye of the camera, then you will be seen fully. No problem. That's not so important. He's asking. Thank you. Then Nan Babu is with us after a long time. Welcome, sir. Somebody like you should give a webinar now on one of similar topics. Nan Ranjan Das, who gave a couple of webinars before. By the way, all of you may come forward to present some webinars. We have Parminder from London. Of course, today she is in Dehradun. I am meeting her tomorrow. So she can also offer a webinar sometime. Tomorrow, Vibhaji and I will talk to her. Yes, Vibhaji, what did you say?
I think please stop screen sharing, Swamiji.
Oh, okay. It is still there.
Yeah, and I think you'll have to check the chat box also.
I see. Now, what happened is it went to.
May I do it, Swamiji, from here?
No, I could find out. I could get it. Screen sharing is gone.
Yes.
What else is that?
Chat box, Swamiji. If someone is.
Correct. Let me open. There are 3 inputs there. Ashwini Kulkarni says, leaving the meeting politely. Sure, no problem. And Dr. Sonpal says, will you please address guilt versus remorse? Oh, well, all I can say is, in guilt, it is so much centered to ourselves. I have done something wrong. In remorse, sometimes it could be sadness about what happened. The I factor is the most hurting one. Suppose some bridge fell and a number of people died. We may have sorrow. Remorse is a sorrow. Though more often remorse also is used in the sense of what one had to go through, what one had to suffer, oneself. Guilt is more specifically self-blaming. Remorse could be just feeling so sorry about what one had to go through, what one has to suffer even now. So some shades of difference are in these 2 words. That's what I can say for the. But in such topics I can say are well received by most of you. We can have sometimes a webinar on remorse. On guilt, we had one last 2 weeks ago about guilt. But remorse can be taken up, and then we can try to maybe, I also will have to think and study a little to distinguish these different feelings of sorrow, guilt, remorse, depression, etc. Yeah, the other one was Nanda saying Hari Om, that's fine. Jump to first unread. Please close the screen sharing that we have done. I guess that was all that was found on the chat box. Okay. If someone has something to say, kindly come forward. Otherwise, we will close this webinar this moment. Next Sunday will be February 5. Yeah. No, we will have next webinar on February 12. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Good night to all in India. Good day to all in the West. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.